Sebastian, go ahead.
Okay, mine's a bit inflammatory. I can't really pick between two players. I'm just gonna go with both of them tied at number one, and both of them are gonna be at the Olympics, in all likelihood. Both of them shouldn't be at the Olympics, in my opinion. The first of which would be Drew Doughty.
Oh, wow.
$11 million per year for another 6 seasons
For
when
a
he's
has-been.
been when he's basic like the value he's been bringing to the ice has been equivalent to that of Brett Kulak. And that's me being kind to Doughty. It's analytically a lot worse than Kulak, but I'm trying to cushion the blow a bit here. Um, so that 6 seasons of Doughty is ridiculous. It's possible he has the skill to bounce back, but I don't see that happening because he's been um, a below average NHL defender for 3 seasons now. So that's my first one. The second one is a contract that hasn't even kicked in yet, and that would be Seth Jones.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
So Seth Jones is making $5.4 million this season. And then he's being paid $9.5 million for the 8 seasons afterwards. 8 seasons. So it'll kick in when he's 27, which is
He's the first NHL player to be paid till 2030.
Yeah.
Ooh, I did not know that stat. That's wonderful.
Fact. Good job.
So it brings him to the age of 35. And Seth Jones, look, I think Doughty's contract is probably worse. It's just the sheer length of this, of like, this ends in 9 years, which is insane to me. Because right now, Seth Jones is, at least in terms of like the impact he has on the ice, at least for the past 2-3 seasons in Columbus, is that of an average number 3 or number 4 defender. So think David Savard being paid $9.5 million for that much longer until the age of 35. Savard is like 31 now, but if Savard were making $9.5 million in the next 4 seasons, we'd be clamoring to call him the worst contract in the league. And again, Seth Jones has the skill to climb back, but I don't see it happening. And I think, like, besides Bobrovsky, Doughty and Seth Jones have the worst contracts in the league.
I'd argue that Seth Jones can potentially come back to being that 57-point guy he was with the Blue Jackets. But the main thing that Chicago is pointing out with this contract is that they're going to ride this team into oblivion with all these big contracts. They have Fleury inked, they have Seth Jones inked. And I think they're just saying, we have Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews for not much longer. Let's just throw everything we can at these two guys and try and run it into a playoff spot. And if we're going to the ground.
The fact that they had to give up Adam Boqvist in that trade kills. Boqvist is one of the best defensive prospects in the league.
Could be better than Jones if he develops properly.
Yep.
Oh, I would say he could be better than Jones in a year or two.
Yeah, I totally agree
like
with
him
that.
a lot. And giving him up on top of a first-round pick and on top of moving up in this past draft and a second-round pick, plus that contract, Chicago dropped the ball there, and I was very happy to see it happen after everything that Chicago has done and shown in the last couple of years.
Geez, Sebastian, I thought your voice was going to get even higher, and higher.
I do not like the Blackhawks organization. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Cue Scrooge McDuck diving into his big pile of money. Just got what basically we've been talking about.
Life is like a hurricane.
Yeah.
My pick actually still has I believe 4 years left. 1, 2, 3, 4 years left. Apart from this season, at a cap hit of $8 million a year, in which his final 3 seasons have a modified no trade clause, where he has to submit a 7-team no trade list. I give to you the product of Haliburton, Ontario, Mr. Matt Duchene. I'm seeing the faces.
Senators killer. He ruined that team. Oh man!
Wow,
he ruined that team.
So Pat, would you say that you're glad that the Habs didn't get him for more than that money?
Oh, I would have given him $11 million. I mean, come on, 12 even. Like, man, Scrooge McDuck just give him the entire bank for crying out loud.
Give him big bags of money at that point with
the big dollar sign on the bag.
Exactly.
Right?
Here's something to mention, by the way. The Nashville Predators gave away PK Subban to sign Matt Duchene, and now they can't get rid of Matt Duchene. So
nobody wants him. And why would you? You know, the guy maybe maybe can give you 20 goals if he feels like it to begin with. He's done it before, but the problem is he's going to give you 20 goals, but then he's going to flutter around the ice, and he's going to be a minus 30 for the year.
I'll give you 20 if he's eating his spinach today.
If he is spinach. Scott Cowan, ladies and gentlemen, with all the obscure 80s references. But that's the thing, right? I mean, this is another situation where I think was it Joe Sakic who made the initial trade to Ottawa? Was he there, or was it still
Well, the thing is, the
I'm
Senators
pretty sure it was Sakic.
Pretty sure it was Sakic.
Yes. And the thing is, originally the Senators gave up Bowen Byram to get Matt Duchene, or a pick that turned into Bowen.
Goodness.
And they pulled the Uno reverse card later on.
Yeah. Anyways, I mean, like the only redeemable part of the Ottawa Senators is how they got, essentially Tim Stützle for Erik Karlsson.
And more than Tim Stützle, Josh Norris too.
And Josh Norris as well. They were really looking on that. But
that was a crazy trade. I mean, Josh Norris is great. He's such a good player, and Stützle is going to be good for so long. Yeah.
Well, I've said it again. Like, San Jose is in a full-on identity crisis mode right now, and it's crazy what's going on with their situation, with their team, and Evander Kane and everything. And believe me, when Alexei Barabanov is your first-line left winger, I mean, this is just a big, big issue with your team.
I mean, Barabanov was good last season.
He was great.
He's not a first liner.
He's not a first liner. He was good, but he's not a first liner. It's like throwing Jose Machidi on your first line, going back to what I saw.
Oh, for crying out loud. Okay, that's enough. On that note, I think let's give him a little like wink also at Rick DiPietro's 15-year, $67 million contract, or Brizgalov and his 9 years, $51 million, or the Gomer man himself, Scott Gomez, with his 7 years, 51.5 million pesos.
Or everyone's favorite professional athlete, Bob Vanilla, 1 million a year for the next, 30 years, 35 years? I'm not
Bobby
even sure.
Vanilla. I think he's still being paid for another like.
Bobby Vanilla Day, everybody.
Oh,
I mean, if we're talking about contracts that hurt the team the most, it has to be Ilya Kovalchuk in New Jersey, considering they basically had to tank because of it.
He bailed and it cost him a draft pick. Anyway, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, this was a great show. My warmest thanks to Scott Cowan, Sebastian Hyde, Joshua Rosa, and of course Sam Mendelson, who made his big comeback, and also to Anthony DeMarco, the new recruit of this show, who did an excellent job on his new segment. And of course, a special thank you to Julian McKenzie for his very generous time with Scott Cowan. And make sure to check us out. So I mentioned this earlier, but www.puckandroll.com. It's up and running. You can catch up on all the old episodes. You can leave us comments. We have a whole bunch of goodies going on there. Shout out and thank you to Mr. Shane Ivers for providing us with the wonderful music. And, Josh, this one's for you, buddy. I think we could say it once again. On this day, the year of our Lord, Guy Lafleur was born. Happy birthday, Guy. See you next week, everyone.